I don't need time. I just need to put together a good fight.
Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
So how's fatherhood and all that stuff, man? How's like that stuff going on?
Man, being a dad's great. It's even better having a great wife, who's like very supportive in everything I do, likes cooking, likes making breakfast, likes having meals for me when I get home from training. It's a very good life right now because I have that support system, but with her, so it makes everything so much more easier when it comes to camp, meal prep. I don't have to do as much on my own as I was doing in the past. So it's just been great. It's been great. And us being in our companionship, just learning how to be parents is cool too.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, that support, man, from your spouse is massive. Like imagine you have to go home every day. Some fighters are in this situation where they have to go home every day, and it's like battle number two starts.
Yep.
The doors close, right? So
Yep.
it's a huge advantage. I could say advantage in your
Yeah.
eyes, right?
I believe so. I believe having the right person in your corner is a really big advantage. Sorry, I was getting this hyper ice started on my knee.
All good, man. All good. You got to get your recovery.
Pretty cool. You can operate it from an app, and then it just like turns on and goes.
Yeah, man. The world of recovery has like completely changed in the last 5 years, right? There's so many.
I try to stay up on that side and just stay ahead of myself because I do so much. So definitely.
Yeah, you do, man. You're always working, and man, you got another fight already, man. Like last year, you had 4 fights, and you're already booked short notice. But it's not really short notice. Everybody's like pointing. Is it short notice for you? You're different though. You really don't think of it as short notice, do you?
No, I fought in November and I took time off and I was really just getting back in the swing of just regular training, doing like 3 a days. Like since my fight, I was like first week of December. I fought November 18th, so I was just starting to get back into the gym and feel like I usually give myself like 2 weeks at least because I'm so active. I try to, unless I know I want to fight immediately, I try to give myself a couple weeks. And after this one, I was still feeling great, but I needed to take a little time anyway. After the fight, nothing big, just my body needed to rest a little bit after the fight. I felt the load of the fight, and so I told myself I'll give myself a couple weeks, and then you know December hits, and I'm like itching to fight again. 2 weeks later, and so I was just like, start going to the gym, and then I was like, all I want for Christmas is another fight soon. And so I was blessed with another fight, sooner than I thought. They were trying to make it for January 13th, actually, for this weekend. And I said yes. And then they moved it back to his original actual date he was supposed to fight. I don't know why they tried to push it up. Maybe they had some fights fall out or whatever. But me, I was like, yeah, I'll be ready. I still feel great from my last camp. Like if I was fighting this weekend, I feel really good. Like, so I would have been okay fighting this weekend. Having gone like a couple week camp because I was still coming off of my recent fight.
Yeah, the momentum, right? Like that's
Yeah.
that's something that people don't even see, but it's there.
Yeah, my body feels great, man. It's just about staying up on recovery, honestly, and just staying consistent. Um, for me, I've been doing like at least 2 a days, 3 a days when I'm in camp, at least 2 a days when I'm like in or out of camp. I'm still doing 2 a days every day, every day, every day. And then when you're a full time dad, stuff like that, you're still kind of like carrying a baby around all the time. Kind of like I'm still lifting weights all day. It feels like so. It's what it is.
And when this fight was announced, there's always people that are gonna have some kind of criticism of like, oh, why is he taking the short notice fight? You know what I mean? Is he in a position to take that fight? Is he risking too much with this fight coming up? From your perspective, like how do you react to people having that type of viewpoint on the matchup?
I don't need time. I just need to put together a good fight. Honestly, I don't need time. I'm a very complete fighter. I got things that I'm always working on. I run into guys who are good at wrestling, and it's been tough. I run into guys who are good at grappling and holding these positions. It's been tough, and I've been trying to figure out these three rounders. And one only the only fight that I feel like I should have took time, but I took it. It was the only fight that I took that for me, it was like I have a baby girl coming, and I was trying to get my family supported, and I didn't. I'm still like I come from a debt and like not nothing, so I was like, okay, this fight right here will help when my baby girl comes. Was the O'Day fight that I took on 9 days notice? That's the only fight that I probably wouldn't have taken because I was literally on vacation, sitting on a yacht, eating. I wasn't drinking, but just eating all I want, hanging with Sanchai, chilling, like I wasn't in for weeks, so I wasn't in shape for that fight, and I still went 3 rounds, and so for me, um, I think that 5 weeks is the perfect time to prepare for a fight when you're not in camp, but you're still training. 5 weeks is a great time to get your body ready and tuned and to peak. Some people need 7 because I think that's more for people who get their weight down a little bit and really feel comfortable with their cut. But with me, I'm always hovering close to weight. So, which is about 16, 17, 18 pounds out. So I'm always ready to go and I just tailor my diet and go, and for me, the short notice, yeah, it's my 4th fight on my contract, but for me, the short notice 5 weeks is enough time to prepare for anyone because I believe in my skills and I believe in myself.
So it's like all or nothing, right? Basically.
Yeah, this one is all. Yeah, this is pushing all the chips in. It's like, here you go, UFC. I know you guys like me. I know I gotta win. I know he's undefeated. I know he's a Kazakhstan boy, so he'll be well rounded. Probably freestyle wrestler. Let's go. It's that simple for me. I've seen a fight. I saw him fight Tyson Nam. I saw him fight. I watched a couple of his older fights. I know what I'm getting to. I know it won't be easy, but it's not anything that I can't handle.
2023. You took a lot of fights that year, and you mentioned the Ode Osborne fight. You probably shouldn't have taken that. The last 2 fights, though, it seemed like you grew a lot, even in the losses. Talk about the experiences of fighting Raphael and Durden.
Yeah, the Durden fight was tough because I prepared really a lot. I prepared hard for that fight. I felt I was ready. I went through two camps wrestling with preparing for Makayev and then preparing for Jimmy Flick and then I took Jimmy Flick short notice. I took O'Day short notice. The only one that I knew I was going to take was the Cody Durden fight, so I felt I would be ready and prepare for anything in that. But that one was just a battle with small transitions, and he overcame them with his jiu-jitsu, and he did a good job at winning those transitions. So that one was kind of tough to pill to swallow, but then got to get back in there. All right, I'm on a 2-loss streak. I haven't been on that ever. Like, okay, what am I gonna do? All right, take some time. My baby girl is gonna be born May. I had that fight April 29th. My baby girl born May 8th. So it's like, all right, I know I got to sit down for a couple months, 2 months. After 2 months, I messaged my manager. I was like, all right, I'm going to start training again and get ready. I'm in Norway. And I just started taking some traditional jiu-jitsu classes while I was in Norway, what was available. And then once I got to Sweden and Malmo, they have Redline TC. They have it's run by the Latifi brothers, so they have a good tradition. They have a good coach there. And so it was pretty Coach Akira. It's a really good gym. They got a lot of up and coming guys, couple guys in PFL, a lot of young guys. So I was able to start training more. And I got offered this fight in May or July, and August, September, November, December, November 18th. That would give me 4.5 months to prepare for that fight. So, in these last couple of fights, I felt like, I did a lot to prepare for them, and I did a lot this year and a half I've been in the UFC. I've grown. It's just about being a complete fighter for those 3 rounds. Not second guessing my skills, and when the moments pause, I have to go. And just win more moments in these fights. I feel like mix it up a little bit. But man, it's funny, man, because I'm so hard on myself, but then I go back and watch my fights, and I'm like, I'm not mad, but I'm just like always itching to get better, always itching to like fix that thing, or what was it? I really didn't do anything. I was a little too aggressive here. I was so it's just the smallest things in these fights at flyweight, and it's so much better than it used to be. This weight class, the UFC in general, the sport, it's so much better than it used to be. So things you may have gotten away with in the past, you can't. Not right now at this weight class.
I saw that you made a trip out to Philly. You're always out there looking and training at different spots. You just mentioned Norway, but the Philly trip, how was that? A lot of big dudes there.
Oh yeah, for sure. But they also have got a lot of guys around my weight, and Marques MMA it feels very similar to Murcielago MMA, where I train here in Michigan. Their coach comes from a boxing background, knows how to mix it up, understands the ground game and the MMA game. And so it feels like home. And the guys, the grind work that's in there is the same grind work that we do out here. If I could say anything, it feels like they're just a little bit more ahead when it comes to like facilities. But as far as like athletes and everything as well, they have a few more guys coming through in the UFC as well. So it's nice being there with a lot of guys who with common goals. That's the thing. It's environment and common goals, and it's just great. It's loving everybody's speaking. Everybody's cool, cordial, working. And that's what I love the most. And I also get to see my brother Jordan Burroughs. Every time I go there, I'm with him and his family, spending time with them. So it's just getting that champion mindset and mentorship and just brotherhood, while I'm there.
What's the connection to Marques? Are you friends with the coach Marques, or are you like, is there a fighter there?
No, so the first time I made the trip to Philly last year, preparing for Muhammad, I just looked up gyms, and I was riding the Metro Link from the west side of Philly to University of Penn, and then I was riding it from the west side of Philly to Marques, because it was I just looked up gyms, and then when I got there, I was like, oh, Daniel Gracie there. Oh, Marques. Oh, this is where Sean Brady's training. Right. So then I was like, yeah, perfect. And then I got in there, and the first time I walked in, I was like, this feel like home. It felt like here, very similar. So I just meshed immediately. And the type of person I am, I mean, I'm the type of person that like pull people together, anywhere I go. So it's no problems. I've never had any issues with anyone like personally training.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It seems like, you get along with pretty much everybody, unless you're fighting them or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless they're in my weight class and it's like an ego thing, but it's never me. Like, it's like, I'm always there for the work. I'm there for the work. That's all I want.
Sure. Yeah, man, there's probably a lot of expectations that you have of yourself. You know what I mean? Not about like what other people are expecting, but yourself in your mind in this fight coming up.
My expectation is for myself in this fight is it's all in, like you said, and for me it's just about, go prove to yourself that you can win in this organization. You have every opportunity. Every time you step in there, every time you get an opportunity, you got to make the most of it. I don't care if it's in the Apex. When I first got in, I was a little butthurt about fighting in the Apex, and then I was like, I'm gonna be the Apex champion. I'm gonna be a fighter all the time if I have to, whatever. And then it was like, all right, I'm taking every fight I can. Now I'm like, okay, now I got these fights under my belt. I feel good. I know what I need to do. I feel like I'm at home. I'm comfortable with the organization. And this is when I get dangerous, when I walk in somewhere and I can be myself. And so When only thing I expect from myself in this fight is to be me, be disciplined, be active, and move forward and win the fight. You know, I've shown that I can do that. When I'm moving forward, if you watch all my fights, when I'm moving forward, guys have a very difficult time dealing with me. When I take my time and I'm on my back foot, guys are winning. So it's things that I see that I need to work on, and I just need to be more assertive within myself. Don't be I'm too comfortable. So don't be too comfortable. Get in there, be yourself, but be assertive. So for me, it's win every moment of this fight, and if he land one punch, you land two. If he gets a takedown, you get a takedown, or you get up, you reverse, you put him in something, whatever needs to happen, you win every moment of the fight.
There you go. And you know, you're one of the most tested fighters of all time. We've seen the stats, right? But USADA's gone now. 12 days, a couple weeks into 2024. How many times you been tested? None.
It's funny. Walking Buck asked me today. Walking Buckley, he was like, "You get tested yet?" I was like, "Nah." I'm surprised. Had it been USADA, I would guarantee I would have already got tested maybe once or twice by now because I have a fight schedule and it's a new year. So, I don't know when that first test gonna come from drug free sport. I'm kind of looking forward to it though. I expect that when people have fights, at least they should pop up and get us tested. I think that'll be 3 to 4 times a year is a good time for most fighters. 3 or 4 fights a year, you know. So I think that's a good thing. I hope they show up before the fight or not while we're at the fight, you know. But we'll see. You know, it was definitely an experience. I was definitely it was a lot of adversity in 2023. Whether it be losing fights I thought I know I could win, or um, getting tested 33 times in 12 months. Um, you know, it was a very adverse year, but I think it's just only gonna make me better for this year. To be honest, like moving forward, I think this will be the start of a few wins for me, and we've already seen a few of my other opponents get title shots. So I think I'll be able to knock into that top 15 very, very soon as long as I handle my business February 3rd.
Yeah, you know, it had me thinking about like, you know, you getting tested so many times, and we've talked about this before, but I was reading something about the like in the stipulations, like how there's a snitch clause, and I was like, there's no reason for them to test you 33 times, man. You've never been busted. There has never been any kind of inclination that you're taking anything. So I was thinking, like, are there people out there snitching? Are they like telling people like, hey, you should be going to test this guy? Like, do you think
I
that's
don't
happening?
know. For me, I've had a couple of talks with my coach because he's like, man, I've been in this game a long time. I never seen nothing like this. 'Cause, like they're showing up at the gym. They're showing up in. I was in Serbia for Jordan's World Championships. They showed up at the Airbnb. I was with his family. They showed up at the Airbnb when we were there. It's like every time I went anywhere and traveled, they showed up. So I had to go to Norway after my fights, checking on my lady, or if I was in Sweden when I went to Sweden, when every time they always showed up, and it's kind of weird. It's like they're trying to catch me, you know, like I'm not doing it. And then like a couple of the times, my water content is so high that I fail. Like my water content was so high on the piss test that they came back the very next morning because I couldn't pass the pH test because it was too hydrated. I'm like, you can pass doing the right thing. You can't, you get a fail doing the right thing, you know, like this is weird, bro. Like, but all right, I guess. And then they come back and do a blood and urine the next morning too. I'm like, bro, it was wild. It was wild. But like I said, you know, I don't think I'll experience that anymore in my career, honestly. And it was, I mean, for me, it got to a point where how I am, like, I like being first at everything I do. I was like, all right, keep coming there. Let me be number one. Let me catch. Like, am I still ahead of Paulo? Because for a second I was ahead of him. I'm like, am I still ahead of him? You know, like let me be number one then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, 2024, man, starts for you February 3rd in Vegas. Charles, always appreciate the time, and yeah, all the best in this fight coming up, man. It's like you said, all the marbles are on the line for this one.
Yeah, man. It's a crucial fight, and hey, make it or break it. Charles Energy Johnson in the UFC. You're gonna go out there and take it, or take your career by the horns, or you're gonna let this young sprout come in and get you up out of there. So that's just what it is. I got to go in there, got to be determined, focused, and have everything, all my ducks in order. And I'm excited about the opportunity just to fight out my contract. The UFC doesn't do that often, which tells me that they like me. I just need to get wins in this organization. And I'm very excited to put on the show for myself, honestly.